Now let's get to drawing the project's foundation. We have imported the foundation plan, and now before we get to drawing it, first let's go observe it over in AutoCAD. So I'm just going to go over here, and here it is, the foundation plan. Now while we were creating its levels, we took a look at this part where it says the level of all foundations is negative 14.70, except for the specified parts in the plan. We're talking about parts like this. As you can see, this one goes lower. So other than these exceptions, all of the foundations begin at negative 14.70. Now, at first glance looking at this plan, you might notice that this plan has a unified foundation, and that's what you're going to need to draw. Also, as for these circles which you can find around the foundation plan, those are actually some wells that we're going to need to also include in the foundation. There is also another one here, and we need to remember that when we are drawing the foundation, we need to include them as well. So in general, we're going to need to draw a unified foundation up to here, and we should also not forget to dig the wells as well. Also, as for these items over here, these are actually the project's meshing, which we need for rebarring, and we're going to get to it later. So let's just go over to these parts for now, which are actually the elevator shafts, of which we've got 3. Now this one right here goes lower than the foundation level, as its level is negative 16.20. Usually there is also a section of such elevator shafts by which we can find out some more details. As you can see, we also have a section for this one called F2, which if we go over here, here it is, section F2. In this section we can find the elevator shafts details. One of the details that you can find out from here is the foundation thickness. Because if you remember, we don't have anything about the foundation thickness in this plan. We didn't know how thick the foundation needs to be, but we found that out by looking at this section. Here is level negative 14.70, which happens to be the starting point of the foundation. It's level TOF with thickness 120. So your foundation needs to be 1.20 meters thick. So this is actually the foundation's top level. And you can also see that it has gone lower, down to negative 15.90. Now as for this negative 16.20 you see here, it's actually the elevator shaft part. So that's the point where we're going to be going lower. Starting from negative 16.20, going lower by 120. As for this 10 centimeters, this is going to be for the lean concrete. So 120 is for the thickness of foundation, and also 10 centimeters of lean concrete. But as for the elevator shaft, we only go down to negative 16.20. Alright, so now we're going to have to go to Revit and draw this. Also, as for this part right here, this one connects the upper foundation with this lower foundation, and there's also a border of walls surrounding them. Also, if you take a look here, we have a measurement value, which says 120. First, let me remove its measuring lines, because our plan's already been scaled and it's 125. So from here to here is 120, but which part is this? It's actually going to be this point right here. For example, if I measure this distance for you, it's going to give us 120. So that 120 is actually going to be for this part, by which we figure that the level of the lower foundation, which is negative 16.20, is actually for this blue area. So this blue area is what we need to draw in negative 16.20, and then this rectangle is going to be a void in level negative 14.70, and then there's also going to be a wall surrounding the distance between the connection of these two foundations. So these are the details that we need to have in Revit. Now don't forget to always observe the sections that you are given, check the levels, the sizes, as well as the thickness. Now let's go over to Revit to draw it. I'm going to go back to Revit, and I've also imported the plan already, and we are also in the foundation level and view. So in the first step, I'm going to need to draw a foundation 120 centimeters thick. So I'll go to the Structure tab, then drop down Slab, then select Foundation Slab, then Save. Don't forget to always save your plan beforehand. Now first I'm going to need to adjust the thickness. So I'll go to Edit Type, and let me also minimize this window. We're going to duplicate this type, and give it a proper identifiable name. It is best that you always have some standards for the beginning of your work and finish it with that standard. For example, a standard for naming your objects could be the project's name, the object's name, or the thickness of that object, properties or materials. So it's best that you follow along a template from the beginning. For example, I'm going to start with the project's name. Like I'm going to type Chemiel. And now the name of the object, which is a foundation, and it's also foundation 120 centimeters. So I feel this is okay now, so I'll confirm it, then go to edit, then I'm going to make the thickness 120. Now finally I'm going to click OK. Alright, so I'm going to select this rectangle shape, and then I'm going to start from this point out here, then go all the way down to this corner. Alright, so now we've got our unified foundation. Let's not also forget about including these wells and actually taking them out. So I'm going to do that right now while drawing the foundation. I'm going to be using pick line, and then I'm going to pick these circles. There's another one here. This one's not a well, but we have another one here. Then another here, and here's the last one. So we've just taken the wells out. Now in the next step, while we are still in the draw mode, we're going to also take out this rectangle, which if you recall we said that was going to be for the elevator shaft. So I'm going to press the tab key and take out these rectangles from the foundation. Here's one, and here's another one. Alright, now I'm going to hit finish. Now let's go take a look at it in 3D. And this is how it's turned out. Let's double check the level, which is correct. So by far we have drawn the main foundation of the project. Alright, this is the main foundation. Now first of all, this is going to need some lean concrete, and then we're going to need to also draw that lower foundation. And it also makes no difference whether you decide to draw that second foundation and then go to the lean concrete, or vice versa. That's actually not going to make any difference. But I've decided that I'm going to draw the lean concrete first, knowing that the boundary of that lean concrete is actually going to be the same as this foundation. And it's kind of like you could just add a layer to your foundation. For that, you're going to have to go to Edit Type, and then add a 10 centimeter thick layer, and that's going to make for your lean concrete. You could either do that, or you could just draw it separately. I'm going to do the latter for this project. So first I'm going to go to the foundation level, and first make the display style shaded. And first I'm going to make a copy of the foundation, and place it on itself. You will also get this overlap warning. We're just going to click OK. Now while it's still selected, we're going to go over here to create our lean concrete. This size is going to be 10 centimeters. Okay, and I'm going to make this one 10 centimeters as well. And now we have adjusted the thickness, only it is not in the right place right now. As you can see over here, these two are interfering each other. This is going to have to go below the foundation. Now you could either give this a negative offset by 120 so that it moves to under the foundation, or you could just define a new level here and then assign the lean concrete to that new level. Alright, now the best thing to do is actually to define a whole new level for the lean concrete. So I'm going to go over to this view, which is also open here, and create another level. I'm going to copy this one, and for its offset I'm going to put 120, which is the foundation's thickness. Now I'm going to go over here to rename it. We're going to make it negative 15.90, followed by /foundation. And also the type of this level is BOF. This stands for bottom of foundation. This one is top of foundation, and this one's bottom of foundation. Okay, so now we've created a level for the lean concrete. Now we're going to go over here to 3D, then select the lean concrete, and very easily assign it to this level we've just created. Now this is going to operate with the level, which is so much better. Now by far we have created the main foundation as well as the lean concrete. And now let's get to drawing the elevator shafts. But we also get to the levels again. You see, you could also create and specify some levels for your elevator shafts, just like what we saw over here in the CAD plan. You see here we've got a negative 14.70 level, as well as a negative 15.90, both of which we've just drawn, and there's also a negative 16.20, and then a negative 17.40. You could also create these two levels, but remember that you don't have to create levels for every single small thing. That's actually not something you want to do. Creating levels isn't a problematic thing, but you shouldn't also create one level for every single detail. On the other hand, it is always good that you have a level for your foundations and another for your lean concrete, for example. But you could also assign offsets if you need to, though I don't really recommend it. So now I'm going to begin drawing these two levels. Once again, I'm going to go over to one of the elevations. I'm going to copy this level, then create another copy, and then adjust their offsets. The offsets were negative 16.20 and negative 17.40. So this one's going to be negative 16.20. And this one is negative 17.40. Now I'm going to also try to organize them a little bit to make the view less crowded. I'm going to also grab this one and drag it down. And there we go. Let's not forget to also rename the levels. I'm making this one negative 16.20, followed by foundation again. And for this level, you could also put TOF, considering that this is going to be the top foundation for your elevator shafts. So I'll put that one TOF, then I'm going to copy its name and paste it over here, and only edit the offsets. This one is negative 17.40, foundation, and I'm going to also change the TOF to BOF. And this is what we've got now. Also, since the names are a little long, I'm going to also extend the letters a little bit as well. We don't want the letters to overlap the titles. So you could just organize your level letters like so. Now let's also add these new levels that we've created. I have just added these three as well. And now for drawing the elevator shafts, I'm going to go to this negative 14.7 view, then first hide the foundation. Then I'm going to go over here, select slab again. And also we need to select this type. And then I'm going to draw these rectangles from this corner down to this one. Then from here to here. And let's go further down. The last one starts from here to here. Now I'm going to assign them to the level negative 16.20. Then click on the green check mark to confirm. I'm going to also unhide the foundation. Now let's go check it out in 3D. And this is how it's turned out. We've got 3 elevator shafts. Okay, so now let's also draw the lean concrete. For that, we're going to go to level negative 16.20. Hide this foundation first. Drag over the rectangles to select them. Then I'm going to copy them onto themselves. Then click Unjoin. And while they are still selected, I'm going to change their types. And for their levels, I'm going to change it to negative 17.40. Do you see what they look like now? This right here is what we have drawn. Now, our work is almost finished. The only thing that's left is we need to also put the wall border to cover the distance between these two. So for that, we're going to have to go over to this view. And we're going to have to draw the wall over here. Now, also, if you take a look at this plan, our wall needs to be 120 centimeters thick to go around this area and fill in the distance. We're going to go over here and define a new wall by duplicating this type and naming it Kimiya /W 120 centimeters. I'm going to also make this one 120. Then click OK. We're going to set the location line on finish face. Then take the rectangle shape. And also for the elevation, we're going to need this to start from this level, going up to below the upper foundation. So it just needs to go up to -15.90. Now we're going to draw from here to this corner. Let's go check out this one we've drawn. And here it is. This right here is actually the wall that we just drew. Okay, so now let's go draw the rest of them. First, hide in the foundation. Then select in wall. And then draw from this corner down to this corner. And another one from here to here. Alright, now let's go take a look at them in the 3D view. And this is how the walls look like now. Let me hide these real quick. And you see here are the walls that we've just drawn, which go up to below the upper foundation, and also fill in the gap between them. So now our work is finished. We have drawn the foundations with their lean concretes, as well as the elevator shafts, and we've also taken the wells out of our foundation.